This conference will now be recorded.
So reviewing, we have $50,000 in overhead costs in two products. Product A has $4 in material, product B, $3. Product A has $5 in labor, product B has $2,000. Because we have just one overhead cost, we make it, and most companies make more than one product, we got to allocate overhead, this $50,000, between the two products. And we said in this case, 30,000 and 20,000. Our expected production was 100,000 and 50,000. So I'll just take these out. Can't sell more than you produce. Okay. And the selling price multiples are 2 and 3. How did we get 30 and 20 between A and B? A was using 60,000 labor hours, so it's using more overhead. B using 40,000 labor hours and not using as much. We add A and B together to get 100,000. Okay. Then we divide 50,000 by 100 to get the activity rate of 50 cents. So 0.5 is the activity rate. 60,000 times 0.5 equals 30. 40,000 times 0.5 equals 20. And so that's how we get that overhead allocated. So it's not a major thing that we're doing. We're just having to make more than one product and allocate the overhead accordingly. Sometimes we'll use more than one factor. Okay. So we had a situation where we were using more than one factor, say labor hours and machine hours. If we have 50,000 in overhead, then a portion of the overhead 50 goes for labor allocation, another portion goes for machine hour allocation, and we do the same thing, but we do it twice, once for the labor hours, another for the machine hours, and we add those together to get the unit overhead cost. So not as concerned about that today, but just say you can get different numbers when you use more than one factor. And you're going to probably be more accurate when you use more than one factor rather than, so using machine hours and labor hours, that's going to tell a better story than just using labor hours only. So let's look at our in-class problem. Instead of making one book, now we're making 4 books. We're going to make 20,000 principles books, 15,000 intermediate books, 10,000 advanced books, and 5,000 tax books. Okay. The ink is 1 for principles, 2 for intermediate, 3 for advanced, and 4 for tax. So it's taking more ink cartridges. The paper, 1 ream for principles, 2 for intermediate, 2 for advanced, and 3 for tax. The labor productivity rate, we can make 10 books per hour with principles, 5 books for intermediate, 1 book for advanced, and it takes 2 hours to make 1 tax book. Our labor rates, $10 all the way across. Selling price multiples, they increase the more advanced the book is, the more it sells for. And the labor hours is 2,000, 3,000, 10,000, 10,000, 25,000. If we were doing 2 factors, we would have these machine hours, but we're just going to ignore that for now. So let's see how we calculate the labor hours. We're making 20,000 books. We can make 10 per hour, so 10 into 20,000 mean it's going to take 2,000 hours to produce the principal books. With the intermediate books, 15,000, we're making 5 books per hour. So it takes 3,000 hours for principals. For an advanced book, we make 1 an hour, so it's going to take 10,000 hours. And then for the intermediate books, it takes 2 hours per book. We're only making 5,000. And so 10,000 is the number of hours for the tax book. So take a couple of minutes and look at that and see if you can get these total hours and add them up to 25,000. So take a couple of minutes and look at that, look at what I did, and see if there are any questions. Because if you get that wrong, you know what's going to happen. Problem. Any questions? Okay, so everybody can do it. So we're only doing one allocation, so your job now is to fill out this chart. So complete the chart. And calculate the activity rate. So everybody's job now is to complete the chart and calculate an activity rate. You got about 5 minutes to do that.
Professor Boyd, where did we get the 200,000 overhead?
That's a given.
Okay.
So in the problem, you always given what the total overhead is, and now you got to allocate it to the various books. So the first thing I want you to do is to calculate an activity rate. Do I have an activity rate calculated? Don't all speak up at once. there anybody? Is there a C student in the house today? We don't have an activity rate? Nobody can calculate activity rate. Oh, well. Can you calculate the activity rate now?
Can you? How did you get this?
How to get what?
How did you get the activity rate?
I ain't got one yet.
Oh,
If you were calculating an activity rate, what would you do?
Do you divide the manufacturer overhead by the total?
Correct.
Okay, the activity rate would be 8.
And that's going to be our POR also. So once we get our labor hours, we simply bring them down. So our activity rate is 8. Our next step is to determine how much of the 200,000 is going to each book. How much of the 200,000 is going to each book? So what would you do?
Multiply?
Yep.
So you'll do
So we bring down the hours by book, correct? Then these are
2,000 times 8.
8. So how much overhead are we allocating to principals?
16,000.
How much to intermediate?
24,000.
How much to advance?
80,000.
How much to tax?
80,000.
If you add all of those up, how much do you get?
$200,000.
Which is what? The total overhead.
The total overhead.
Okay. What's coming on this next line to get the unit overhead cost? What you're gonna put on these lines?
The quantity, right?
Do you add 16 plus 2,000?
We might go up here and get these quantities.
Oh.
Oh, 20,000, 15,000, 10,000, 5,000.
So now we need the unit overhead cost. Can y'all calculate the unit overhead cost by book?
Yeah.
So what's the unit overhead cost gonna be for principals?
0.8.
Okay. What about for intermediate?
$1.68.
What about for advanced? And what about for tax?
16.
Okay.
Professor Boyd, what did y'all do to get those numbers? What did y'all divide?
And there's 16,000 and
Line
20,000.
3 and 4.
3 divided by 4. That's all we did. Any questions? Okay, so you see these assumptions here. So what I need everybody to do now, you got these assumptions down? Does everybody have the assumptions down?
You need to write that down.
But if you can remember it, you don't have to. You should have a book with it in it. But just put down the one for principles right now. Take a picture, do something. And given a selling price multiple of 2, put it down here. I now need you to come up with the unit cost and selling price multiple for the principles book. So you think you can do that? The POR at some point. So what did the principles book cost? What's the selling price going to be? It shouldn't be strange, is it? So let's go back up again so everybody has the information for principles. And if that is the information for principles, what is the cost of the principles book and what is the selling price?
Is the cost 30?
Well, tell me how you got it.
The ink was $20 and then the paper was $10.
So ink is 20, paper is 10. What's the labor?
Oh,
10 books per hour.
So what's our unit cost for labor?
One.
Yeah, that's a good one. Shanika, 1.
Shakana.
Shakana. Then how much overhead we put in here? I said,
200,000.
no. Go up here and get these numbers we calculated.
80. 0.80.
0.8 or 80.
That's why we calculated them. So what's the total unit cost for the principles book?
$31.80.
Yes, 31. But selling price is going to be
$63.60.
Okay. Okay, that's just one book as we moved up in life. So now you got to calculate it for the other 3 books. And I brought the overheads down for you. So see if you can calculate the price of the other 3 books. Unit cost and selling price of the other 3 books.
Can you go back down?
How much is the intermediate book costing?
186.3.
What's the cost first?
That is the cost. Oh, 62.10.
What's the selling price?
186.3.
What about for advance?
The selling price would be 264.3.
And what was your estimated cost?
88.1.
And finally,
126.2.
126.2.
Mm-hmm.
What's your selling price?
504.8.
8. Everybody else got these? Any
Yeah.
questions? Okay.
I think I know how to get them now.
Then you know how to get them now. Okay. So here we're simply, so what have we done today? We got 4 books. We've been doing 1 book. But, most companies make more than 1 product. So we moved to 4 products. So we just had to say, okay, we got the overhead. Overhead has got to go for 4 products. So we calculate an activity rate, use that activity rate to allocate the $200,000 between the products, get the quantities to get the unit overhead costs, and with the unit overhead costs, we're doing the same thing. Estimated cost, selling price, and what's our predetermined overhead rate gonna be? We told you
8.
8. It's gonna be the predetermined overhead rate.
Professor, how did you get that number?
Which number?
The predetermined overhead rate?
We went back up here to our activity rate.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
Okay. Now, what we have to do at this point is to move to journal entries for more than one book. So let's look at how we're going to do that. We have a principles, an intermediate, advanced tax. And so there are journals for the principles book, for the intermediate book, for the advanced book, for the tax book. Then there's the company. In stage 1, we buy the raw materials. And these are all quantities until we get down here to the overhead. But everything else is a quantity. So if I were making 4 different books, I would make 1 purchase of ink and 1 of paper. And you do that at the company level, okay? Then when I got ready to make the books, I would bring into each area the amount of, and these are quantities, the ink, paper, these are the actual labor hours. So how do we get ink of 20,000 and paper of 20,000 coming into principles 1? We go back up here to our assumptions. It takes 1 ink cartridge and 1 ream of paper. So since I'm making 20,000 books, principles books, so you see that total 20,000, then that simply means then that I got to pull in 20 ink cartridges, 20,000, and 20,000 paper cartridges. I'm given actual labor hours of 2,200. I'm gonna multiply that by my labor rate. Then in applying overhead, I'm gonna use that same PR across 8. So for each book, it's the same thing. For the intermediate book, we go back to the assumptions. I was making 15,000, but it took 2 ink cartridges and 2 reams of paper. So I'm going to need 30,000 ink cartridges for each book. So 30,000 for in ink, 30,000 in paper. And the labor here is 2,800 hours. How much ink and paper we're gonna need for the advanced book? Well, we're making 10,000, 3 and 2, so it's gonna be what, 30 and 20. We need 3 inks and 2 papers. So we should have quantities.
Professor Boyd,
20,000, yes.
how did you get the extra labor hours again?
These are given.
Oh, okay.
So those, the actual is always gonna differ. And how did I get 20,000 and 15,000 for the ink and the paper?
You did 5,000 times 4, and then 5,000 times 3.
Okay. So we calculated these quantities. We were given the actual labor hours. Then, of course, we're going to apply the overhead when we make journal entries. But these journal entries are made for each book, okay? Finished good, once again, we got to transfer out. And the assumption here, you made 18,000 of the principal's book, 12,000 of intermediate, and 8,000 of the advanced, 4,000 of tax. That's how many you made. Then we got the sales, 15, 10, 5, and 3. So we're doing the same thing, making the same journal entries, except we got to make them for each book. Except the purchase is made for the company, the purchase as a whole. Then we come back to actual overhead. We're going to do this entry for the overhead by itself also. And our goal is to do a cost of goods manufacturer statement for each book, add them up. Cost of goods sold, add them up. So let's begin to make journal entries. And team one, you have the journal entries for the company. Team 2, you will make journal entries for the principal's book. Team 3, you make journal entries for intermediate. Team 4, you make journal entries for 5. Team 4, you make journal entries for the advanced book. Team 5, you will make the journal entry for the tax book. So we're breaking it down. Eventually, you'll have an exam where each team member has a book, but right now, each team has a book that they're going to make those journal entries for. Here's the ledger overall, but then there's a work in process account for each book and a finished goods account for each book. Cost of goods sold, manufacturing overhead, and sales can be there together. Okay, so let's get to work. Everybody work on their part of this. So you got 10 minutes to make your journal entries. In team 6, you're doing the cost of goods manufacturer statement.
I have a question.
Okay, what's your question?
Okay, for the transfer ink and transfer paper, what's our numbers?
Okay, these are the quantities. You go back up to your assumptions for the numbers.
I get that, but you know how when we did for the other assumptions, not the other assumptions. Huh?
What book you have?
The first one.
Oh, good.
Tax. We got tax.
Oh, yeah, we got text. I'm sorry. I thought you was talking about which primer I got.
I got tax. Okay, so as y'all work on your attendance quiz of the day,
Oh, wow.
Professor Boyd, can you post this on Blackboard?
It's in the primer. Get your primer.
Okay. Is it worked out in the primer?
No, we're working it out now.
Okay.
We've done some of it. So all I'm asking you to do is to take 10 minutes and do a book. Redeem yourselves from those awful midterms I saw.
Can you go down just a little bit though, Professor? Okay.
Have I gone far enough?
I do have a question. My numbers were different from the intermediate, whatever this is on page 364. My numbers were different.
Your numbers are different.
Yeah, I thought so. You're going too far.
Intermediate, well, where you at?
Back to the, I guess this is the, yeah, right here, selling price, predetermined overhead rate. So the ink, it would have been 40 and 20, right? And then 2, no, right there.
Fill up the intermediate. 2 at 20 and 2 at 10.
So 40 and that's 20, and then 5 and 10 is 2.
Let's put the 6. So what we
I
say,
did 5 divided by 10.
40 and 20.
Oh,
Okay, then
that's
what's
2.
our
5 divided by 10 is 2, right?
we're making 5 per hour. So whenever it's a per,
Oh, okay. That's why my numbers is off.
so this would be what? 2
0.5.
is
It would
0.
be, what did you,
Wait, can you go back up to the thingy?
you said 5, it's 5 divided by 10, right?
Wait a minute, I'm on the wrong thing here. This is
No, that's the
1.
right one.
That's the right one?
Yeah, so when I do 5 divided by 10,
But 10 divided by 5.
Oh, well, your whole thing wrong.
so it's 2. That's why I was like, that was kind of off. That was off. I got confused. Okay.
So all that's wrong.
So
So
that's
the label,
gonna be 2. Yeah, that's
2.
2, 1.6, 63.6, 3, and 190.3.
Okay.
Okay. I was just make sure I was doing it right because I wasn't getting the same number.
Thank you.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
190.8. 190.8. My bad.
But I still have a question
What's your question?
about this transfer ink and transfer paper.
That's stage 2. What's your question about the transfer?
I get that we so
Don't make it hard. Make it simple.
okay.
Hold on, I gotta take a picture of this.
Well, we get in your book.
So I'm confused.
Okay. So what should have happened? Team 1.
No, we team 5.
I know. Team 1 should be buying the ink, buying the paper. Then they're gonna work with the overhead. That's team 1. So if you were team 5, you had what, the tax book?
Yeah.
Okay. So
The transfer ink and the transfer paper.
for the accounts. So transfer the ink. What you gonna debit?
20,000?
I want an account right now.
Oh, WIP
And what you gonna credit?
ink.
Okay, raw materials ink.
Yeah, raw materials ink.
How much is the debit gonna be for?
20,000?
Thousand.
Okay, how many did you,
Wait. Do I do 20,000 times
Hold up.
20,000 times 10?
okay, so you gotta go up here to what the ink
The,
cartridge
the
costs.
assumption's right. So you do 20,000 times 1 for ink.
Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. You'll do 5,000 times 4.
20, you're gonna mother, the ink's gonna be $20 each. So each ink cartridge is gonna be $20.
So you're gonna do 5,000 times 20,
Yes, you would.
and then for paper you'll do 5,000 times
I'm
10.
not telling you anymore.
So that's 100,000 for the first one.
Wait, what did you say?
That's 100,000 for the first one.
And as you do these, then there's one raw materials ink, one raw materials paper.
We turn this in? Oh, we
We'll
just
see.
doing it in class.
So this is the working process for principals. This is working process intermediate. So you got your working process account to be posted. So create your T account and you'll finish good so that I can ask that you fill all of this out before we end class.
Should
So
come up,
everybody,
the other one is
all we did
50,000.
here,
Okay,
so you got
50,000.
to finish working this whole problem. So everybody needs to create their T accounts and do everything they need to do and make these journal entries.
I'll write mine down
The
first.
journal entries are the same for each book. Go to principal. You're going to transfer in the ink. You're going to transfer in the paper. You're going to record the labor. You're going to apply the manufacturing overhead. And of course, you got that wonderful entry you all like. You got to transfer the finished goods, then make the
You want
sale.
us to do all that in 10 minutes?
So what?
You want us to do all that in 10 minutes?
A superstar like you, Brady.
No, negative.
Okay.
But that's a lot to do. That's less time than everything that you're requesting.
Can you go back to that?
15 minutes then.
Can you scroll back up?
Scroll them back up.
Right there.
Let me see if I can copy this, put it in Blackboard. But I assume y'all had this.
Well, it's in the book, but the page numbers don't match up to what yours
Yeah,
looks like.
I put extra numbers in here working on things. So yeah, that's true. But once you get to the start of this, the page number should be the same, but this is just a working draft. I work with and insert pages as needed.
Professor Boyd,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in group 3. I don't know how to record the labor.
Just multiply the hours times the labor rate. You got a $10 per hour labor rate. Got it?
You said multiply the hours by the labor rate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, don't make it hard.
okay.
You said multiply what again? The labor rate by what?
The hours, actual
Okay.
hours.
Okay. Can you scroll up?
Okay, give me just a second while I put it in Blackboard.
Okay.
Okay, so it should be under assignments now. So what did you want me to scroll to?
Scroll to that little chart.
I'm going the wrong way.
I don't see nothing moving.
Oh, I got the wrong one.
Right there. You passed it up
Where?
to text.
All right, with that tax. So you're transferring ink, you're transferring paper, you're recording the labor, you're applying the overhead, then you're making the transfer from work in process to finished good. Then you got the sale, which is 2 entries. Then the overhead, team 1 picks up on the overhead. So team 1 has to come up and make the overhead entries.
Can you explain how we're supposed to know the quantity to transfer and the quantity to purchase?
Okay. Let's go back up here. Okay. This was determined for you that this was going to be the quantity that you're going to purchase. Ink and paper.
Okay.
The company records that. What you're concerned with recording, is for my particular book, how much of the ink I'm going to use, how much of the paper. I wouldn't buy the paper separate for each book. I'm going to make one big joint purchase.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does everyone see this in assignments? Does anybody see it in assignments?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So you all need to finish this, and you all need this into me. I just want one copy. Y'all put it all together, get one copy to me by 12 o'clock tomorrow night.
Professor Boyd, will you have tutorials tomorrow?
Yes.
All right.
I had them yesterday.
Yeah, because I need help. I need help with the rest of the journal entry.
Well, those the same journal entries.
Do you want us to stop at what stage do we stop at?
You got to finish the whole thing.
Mhm.
So y'all work together as a class and get me a joint cost of goods manufactured and cost of goods sold for all 4 books. So you're doing it as a class together. We'll look at it briefly, then each team will be doing it next. Each team will have their own problem.
Professor Boyd, you said we had to wait on which group to get the applied MO?
Okay, let me go to the problem for a second. Okay, you're gonna apply your manufacturing overhead. You aren't waiting for anybody. And then you're gonna put it in your, then once you apply it, you will come and put your credit in this manufacturing overhead T account. So each team puts a credit in here, okay? Then team 1 will compare the credit for each book with the total actual and make the entry for the over or unapplied. So it's the same journal entries. So all you're doing with your book is you're making the journal entry and you posting it in here for manufacturing overhead for the company.
So if we have an excess on the debit side, would that be an overestimate or an underestimate of manufacturing overhead?
You won't have anything. Let's go up here and look at. The company is going to have that. So all you're doing is doing the transfer and posting it.
Okay.
All you do is post it.
Well, I know whenever we get that number and you want us to zero out the manufacturing overhead T chart, how do I know if that number is an over applied or under applied manufacturing overhead?
Team 1 will record the actual overhead, which is there. Then they're looking at T account of all the credits, and team 1 has to make that calculation.
Okay.
So when we get the overhead, team 1 will put in the actual. It'll compare 4 credits and determine that entry that needs to be made. So the teams don't do that. That's that in total. Any other questions?
You said it's due tomorrow at 12 p.m. or 12 a.m.?
I guess 12 a.m. and whatever the latest at night. What's the AM or PM? 11 a.m.?
Okay, 11:59.
Yeah. But I only want one sent in, okay? Correct. So you all need to get me one done and correct.
Okay.
So we'll see if the class can work a problem. Realizing that each team will have one to do by themselves on Thursday.
Professor Boyd. Professor Boyd, I have a question.
Okay.
To get the finished good cost, would I do 4,000 times my raw material, ink, and my paper?
Well, what book do you have?
What is
Which
that?
book do you have?
Oh, 4 books.
No, I mean, which book?
Oh, tax.
Okay, so here's your tier count for tax. What you
Mhm.
did for one, you're going to do it for your particular book, but everybody else is doing it for their book. And so everybody is calculating how much they transferred from their work in process account to their finished good account. So there's a finished goods account in here for tax. Got it?
Yeah, but I'm saying to get it,
Well, what you did, all last,
4,000.
well, I don't have it, so I'll ask you which time. Okay, you got the tax book. How many were you supposed to make with tax?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4.
In the assumptions, how many books were you supposed to make? Was it 5,000?
I think it was, yeah.
Put that in red. How many did you actually make?
From the ink or the,
I want to know the total number of books that were made. Don't they have something that says? Let's see.
completed books,
4,000 books.
4,000. Okay.
So everybody would be, putting this information in and then making a calculation of how much cost they transferring the finished goods and the unit cost of their book. So in red are the quantities. You can do it however you want to do it. Those are quantities. Now you got to put in dollar amounts. So everybody will be doing the same thing. So each team should be working to finish its work actually today to come up with, what's in work in process, how much you transferred to finished goods, then how much you transferred to cost of goods sold. So each team is working this for their T account. Is the tax team almost finished? So you got the same process. You got to make your journal entries. And here, these are stage 2 journal entries, stage 3, and eventually stage 4 on the sale. So tax team, y'all have all of this finished?
I can give you two.
You can do what?
Million overhead costs. I'm still trying to get my cash and my sale and cash. My sale.
Keep working.
Okay.
Can you scroll up, please, to those journal entries?
What journal entries? What book you got?
Tax. Not
What?
this. No, scroll up to like it said. You know where they had the stages at? Right there. Oh, see stage 4. Trying to see how we're gonna get the sales. Okay.
Do you kind of see? Books sold?
Yeah, I see that.
So what's the issue?
Oh, 3,000.
They sold 3,000 books.
So that's gonna be our journal entry for cash and sales.
Yeah, 3,000 times your selling price.
Oh yeah, tripping.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Times 4. Okay.
504.8.
So, oh, that's our selling price, not the
Yeah,
selling multiple.
what?
You'll do the selling price, not the selling price multiple.
Selling price.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I got it.
Oh, got it now?
Yeah.
So I haven't been here for tax, but each book would have journal entry just like this, except they would list their book. Each book has those same journal entries by stage.
Hey, Dr. Boyd, you teach winter classes?
I don't think so. Why?
I was just asking.
They talking about a real winter starting in last of November and going all the way through Christmas through the New Year's. It's gonna be 5 or 6 weeks. So y'all work me too hard. I need to rest. Any questions by anybody?
You want us to give us? You want us to give you our journal entries?
No,
Oh, yeah, extras.
but
You had extras earlier, so I thought you still wanted us to give it to you.
yeah, you got the screen now. Go ahead and put it in. Put them in.
Oh, not this again.
I don't mess my machine up today, Brady.
All right. I just need the cursor to come over here. There we go.
And since she putting our thing in, do we still have to turn it in through Blackboard?
I only want one for the class.
I know, but I'm saying like, do we still have to turn it on Blackboard since we doing it on here?
It's an all or nothing project. Either the whole class gives me the problem work or the whole class doesn't. Got it?
No, I don't get it.
You didn't answer the question.
Team wins or the team loses.
Jasmine, you put 6,000.
Huh?
You had put 1,006,000.
Which one?
Take away a
Oh.
zero.
Oh, jeez.
So this a whole class thing, not a group thing?
Right, it's a whole class thing right now.
Oh,
But y'all can do the whole thing.
oh no.
Mm-mm.
So overhead 1,600,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we got.
I thought we calculated wrong.
What's your POR?
Go back to it.
What was your POR?
It was 8.
What were your actual labor hours?
9,000.
So what's
9,000
8
times
times
8.
9,000?
72,000.
So where's this 1,600,000 coming from?
I
Oh,
don't
no.
even. I don't even know how we got to it.
Y'all sent that in. Y'all haven't gotten any points.
None.
No, not for all. I have to put some minus points in y'all stuff.
So, Professor, in order to find the applied MO, we have to do our POR, which is 8 times the designated labor hours.
Correct. The actual labor hours.
Okay.
So I guess what will happen would be each team will come on next time and we'll probably do it that way. We'll just like you all are doing. So everybody needs somebody on their team who can come and get the screen and put this stuff up?
Well, if that was off, this might be off too.
Yeah, it will. But that next one, it'll be Jasmine FG and WIP. It'll be 1,032,000. No, 032.
What you said?
1,032,032.
Girl,
1032. Then 000.
and then for cash, gotta redo this.
No, cash still the same. That one still be the same.
The 1,572,000.
Yeah.
This thing is slow. Oh wait, I went too far. So slow. All right, and then for the cost of goods, so our cost of goods changed, right? It wouldn't be 853,000, right? Shakana?
Huh?
Our cost of goods should have changed, right? Since
Mm-mm.
853,000.
Oh yeah, it should change. Hold on, let me calculate that.
$1 million divided by 9,000.
So it'd be 343,800.
look right, Professor Boyd? Professor Boyd.
Mm-hmm. You posted your tier counts?
Not yet.
So what were you asking?
So I need to put. Did he erase it? It's not working. It's tripping my card. I'm just thinking on my nerves. I can't remember. Do I put the 40,000 on this side?
You talking to me, Jasmine?
Yeah, my bad. Didn't I put
40,000
the
on credit side?
yeah,
Yeah,
because it was a percentage.
yeah. No, you put it on the other side, credit side.
That's my computer tripping. Professor Boyd, My computer is not acting right now. Okay, there we go.
You think you have it ready by but you see,
My computer is not acting right today.
where did all these numbers come from?
They came in my journal entries.
She got it under the wrong one. You was supposed to put all
Oh,
the under work in process.
girl, I didn't even.
That work, I already put the red
Yeah,
there.
I already did.
You messing up somebody else's work.
My bad, I can erase it.
What time class over?
When y'all get this done,
Class ended at 5:50 though. See, my thing gonna keep messing it up, Professor Boyd. Look,
well, who else on your team can do something?
yeah, my computer gonna keep messing it up.
Shakana, but I'm on my iPad, so I don't think I probably can do it.
Release control, cause it's not. I don't know.
I can do it if I'm able to off my iPad, but I don't think I can. Oh, okay. So can we at least put that in another day?
So,
Since y'all ready to go, I guess.
I could put it in tomorrow. My computer, I don't know what's going on with my computer.
Well, what we'll do, we
I
have
mean,
all
people is leaving.
what?
People
Yeah,
was just leaving.
Tell them bye.
Hey.
Everybody not serious. What's a good charging card for iPhone?
Charging cord.
It doesn't
Braided.
matter. What?
Fast charge. Braided fast charge ones.
The C.
Oh yeah, and USB-C also.
What did you say?
Braided fast charge. I could probably find you one.
I mean, but do you have who would make it?
Oh, I'm all about third-party vendors.
Okay. I just thought if anybody knew something that were really good, but no big deal.
Can I finish this until then tomorrow?
Okay, I posted some in the chat. You can look at on Amazon.
Okay.
I can finish this until then tomorrow, Professor Boyd.
So what?
Can we finish? I don't know what's on my computer, but can we finish this in
We
tutoring
will
tomorrow?
finish it in office hours tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.